Thank you.
Treat you good. All right.
Oh. Okay, thank you.
Begin our meeting now. May I have everybody's attention, please? I call the meeting to order. I'll start off with the pledge of allegiance. Please join me.
Nation, indivisible, liberty.
Finley here. Lewis, present. Lindsay here. Miguel, present. Secret, absent. Schwartz.
So we're one trustee short tonight, and it's early, and it was planned long before August 4. So we do have a quorum, so if I can take a motion to adopt the agenda as presented. Support. It's been moved and supported. You don't see anything in there that needs to be changed? Here in the back. Being none, all in favor of approving the agenda as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. That takes us down to number 5, approval of the minutes. Can I get a motion on the February 21st, 2023 regular meeting?
So moved.
It's been moved and supported. Are there any questions, omissions, or corrections to the minutes that any of the trustees saw?
I have a few. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
On February 21st, page 2. At the bottom of the page, the very last sentence says the following is an offensive word from Claire Martin. You just had included, so I hope you could include that.
Okay.
I think that was it.
Thank you. All right, any other members? All in favor of approving the minutes from February 21st? Please say aye.
Aye.
Any That'll turn to the March 7th, 2023 special meeting. I'll take your motion.
Support.
Okay, does anybody have any corrections? Does it see any omissions or mistakes? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the March 7th, 2023 meeting special meeting, say aye.
Aye.
So this takes us down to our citizen participation, and obviously we have quite a crowd tonight. And we have a big agenda, so the supervisor, that's me, you know, controls the mode and the ordering of public comment in the of the meetings. Then I would ask that you hold it to 2 minutes and or less, and we'll have like a maximum of 30 minutes of public comment tonight. And if it gets repetitive, you know, you can just get up and say, I agree with this, or I don't agree with that. But if we went to everybody who wanted 2 minutes, you'd be here. So with that, I will take citizens who want to make a comment.
You gotta turn it on.
Yes, back there, the mask on. You gotta identify yourself.
No,
You gotta identify yourself and where you live.
gotta put it closer.
My name is Josie Lee. I'm in corner of Warren and Vicksboro, so our property. Trustees. Here. Right?
Could you say your name?
Could you come to the front?
Thanks. Thank you.
I have additional agendas if anybody would like one, I can pass them out and you can send them down the road.
I'm gonna start your time over.
I'm going with my mask on if that's okay, but I'll just speak loud enough for people to hear. My name is Josie Lee. I live at the corner of Warren and Vicksboro. It's my property.
You're addressing them.
I'm gonna adjust your time on this. It's right. All right.
So I had the opportunity to speak with Scott a couple of times. He was gracious enough to meet Chris and I at the property so we could kind of see a walkthrough of what their intentions were. I have a little write-up that I have put together so you have all my concerns, and I let him know when we were meeting that I was against the project, but I respected he and his wife enough to make sure we were doing this in a friendly manner. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to speak first. They should be focused on the vision and mission of Garrett Place. The most important work is happening now and it will be ongoing. The work they do is not dependent on the space they are in. They have a vision and mission that will work with any future development spaces. As a positive business owner who understands the importance of wellness, we spent 15 years teaching that everyone is someone's most important person in the world, and it's important for us all to remember that they are doing this on behalf of theirs. So I just ask that as we have these impassioned conversations, we do so with that in mind, first and foremost. Our property would be impacted. I put together my series of concerns. I'm just calling it peace of mind. It starts with talking about right from the Superior Township website, what it means to be a part of Superior Township. I consider it more of the Vicksboro area too. So I take that into consideration. Light pollution, sound pollution, potential river and water pollution. I was here for the meeting when they were trying to put the indoor soccer facility in, so I remember a lot of conversations about runoff. Politics and funding. We know the funding is only as good as the administration, and in Michigan that can change ever so often. So what happens with funding isn't there? This is not a turnkey property for them. So anything they do, they have to build. Just the one house is going to use this administration of part-time residents in the beginning, but they're going to have to create. And we know that construction can cause disruption. Rezoning, obviously.
Thank you.
So anyway, please take the time to read this.
It'll be
If any more
incorporated
questions-
into the communications.
Yeah.
Again,
Can you
that's
give me a
not
copy?
for me.
You got it? Okay.
More. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
My name is Claire Jugower. I'm a resident of Dragon, and also the president of the Farmington. I don't know if every that's here in space this morning is living in the echo chamber, but as a neighbor, it seems like the rezoning was a foregone conclusion, and it really is shocking sense of entitlement. So many people in my neighborhood feel intimidated and fear discrimination. They speak out publicly, and this organization is focusing on psychological support, is asking us to trust our ability to screen participants in that course here to care about the distress and harmony are causing the community by the proposal. So I asked for a little empathy and stand in my shoes. I'm a neighbor. Let me tell you how I read the Garrett Space website and media blitz. I see this as a development that is adjacent, underfunded, untested, residential treatment for unstable young adults who are facing volatile living situations and live on a site that lacks water, sewer, and secure borders. So I think what could go wrong? These aren't irrational fears. They are facts that have been presented to us. And there are too many what ifs in the Garrett Space to feel comfortable with Garrett Space causes an increasingly complicated and complex one. So I just wanted to say that.
Thank you, Marty. Next, yes, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Mary Wenser, and I live at 3955 Morgan's Road. And my objection has nothing to do with the merits of Garrett Space. I'm here to voice my strong opposition to the proposal to rezone 3900 North Fishkill Road, which is currently the site of a single-family home, from A2 to medical services facility, to create a residential treatment center for young adults with depression, anxiety, and suicidal thoughts. Placing a medical services facility in the middle of a rural residential neighborhood is incompatible with surrounding land uses and could permanently alter the character of the neighborhood. The proposed rezoning is also not compatible with our township's master plan. As such, it would be considered spot zoning, which I believe is illegal, and would also set an unwarranted or unwanted precedent for zoning other large residential or agricultural properties for medical or commercial use. I have been a township resident for 35 years and have observed many changes in our neighborhood, but they have always been in keeping with our zoning laws and the master plan of the township. I have concerns that the co-founders of Garrett Space, the Ann Arbor-based suicide prevention nonprofit seeking the rezoning, could very easily change the target group for their holistically focused treatment facility if the rezoning is approved. In a June 12, 2019 Ann Arbor Observer article, co-founder Scott Halpert is reported as saying Garrett Space is
Thank you for your comments. There'll be plenty of public hearings and public meetings as this process continues. There'll be many times there'll be opportunities to speak. And thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to thank you for including the neighborhood and having a chance to voice our positions. My name is Roberta Colliner. I live on Warren Road. If I stand in my front yard and look up the hill, I see Ellie's former home. So I'm very close to this property. As has been mentioned, I have nothing against Garrett Space. I think it's a wonderful thing that should be done. I just think it's in the wrong place. I'd like to share a personal experience. I grew up in Lansing, Michigan, lived in a working class neighborhood where as kids, we came home for meals. We came home when the street lights came on. Directly across the street from our home, behind those houses was the Armory Field. And we had a makeshift baseball diamond, a track, and a football field. We played there constantly until a boys' vocational school opened about a mile from us. And I know everyone is saying that Garrett Space is this brand new thing that has never happened in the United States, and it's a prototype for things to come. Once that facility opened, they had 12-foot high fences, tons of security, and constantly the young men, and again, these were just boys, with mental problems and criminal backgrounds were escaping. They would run the miles through the Armory Field to our neighborhood. They would break into our garages as a safe place to hide as the police were looking for them. They broke into homes,
Roberta?
2 seconds, and 2 of my childhood friends were sexually assaulted. And to this day, they are
Roberta?
still
Roberta?
struggling. I'm
Gotta
done.
be fair to me.
Yes, I'm done.
Yes.
Good evening. My name is Doug Gale. I live at 5510 Warren Road, actually on Wing Drive, which is within a couple hundred feet of the property that we're discussing here. Lived there for 40 years. 28 of those years, I've been involved in the Planning Commission, and I still serve on the ZBA. I only mention that because I've been through the zoning ordinance, every chapter and verse you could imagine over those 28 years. To locate this facility in the middle of an A2 zoning that's surrounded by residential with a lot of those homes with little kids, you have to take the zoning ordinance and throw it in the trash can. It does not fit. There's no way you can make that fit. And if we throw the zoning ordinance in the trash can for a very popular project, and by the way, I've had 2 suicides in my family, so it rings a bell with me, okay? But if we throw that zoning ordinance away for what's a very nice project, a very popular project, then the developers that you wrestle with all the time that are trying to violate Getty's Road and make us another Canton, then why not violate it for them? So I would, rather than just say no, let me suggest this. We have some very influential people in this township. Mr. Swartz, you're one of them, okay? We have other people, and you know them. I have seen in my working life, I used to build wastewater treatment plants, and we'd have to cite them. As you can imagine, that's not a very popular subject. And I've actually seen where Dow Chemical donated 20 acres to our project when we asked them. If you were to get 3 or 4 of your influential friends together and brainstorm, I think you could have people that could approach St. Joe, Washington Community College, Domino's Farms, Eastern Campus of U of M Medical, and we could find a location that would both fit their needs, which I think is good, okay, and would not violate our zoning ordinance. And I hear the bell. Thank you.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Danny. I don't live in this township. I live in Ann Arbor. This is, an Ann Arbor based
Dan,
program.
can you kind of turn towards the board? You're addressing the board.
Oh, sorry.
Well, you can kind of turn a little bit if you need to.
I am speaking, I'm sorry. I know what a lot of people are thinking when they look at me. And I know that a lot of people are thinking, why is this degenerate advocating for a place that's going to bring degenerates? Not exactly like that, but I know that people think of me as being like a delinquent or a lawbreaker. Because of how I look and because of the fact that I have mental illnesses and it is something I struggle with. I'm too young to go to Garrett Space, but I know that it can save so many lives. I wouldn't be here if I didn't have the mental health resources I had. I wouldn't be a year sober if I didn't have the mental resources I have. I hear people say that they are scared of these mentally unstable people, but Garrett Space very specifically says that it's not going to house people that are a danger to others. And even then, the point of this space is to help people heal, so they will never go back to a life like that.
All right, Danny.
I have been hospitalized several times in my life. And they treat you medically, yes, but it doesn't feel safe exactly. It all feels very medical, it all feels very plastic. And hearing what this is exactly what I know I've needed and what it could have prevented me from all the problems, not all the problems, could have prevented me from losing myself.
All right, thank you, Danny. Yeah, the letter.
My name's Stephen Henley. I live at 5188 Warren Road. 7 acres of our property backs up to the proposed change to the property. And I have my 6 kids, young kids, 15 and 1 in the back. My wife had to leave because one of them started to be loud, but we are in opposition to the proposal that is put forward. And I would suggest that if we take the emotions out of it and call it a home for elderly or whatever the case may be, a lot of our concerns are still the same in terms of the amount of people that are increased in that space, housing 20 to 30 people, the effects that some of our neighbors have referenced in terms of the water flow that goes there. And I will also say that I am concerned with having 6 kids, that I like to have roam around my property, and my neighbors will attest to it, including my chickens. But we are in opposition to it, and I would ask that you hear our plea and all of our neighbors that are here, and not allow this to go forward. So thank you.
We're not here tonight to make any kind of decision because we don't even have a plan. So, we're hearing what you're saying, but we can't even make a decision until this goes through the planning commission. So, who's next? Yes, sir. Thank you. Right there on the corner.
Everyone, thanks for letting me speak. I come here, I want to recognize your concerns.
What's your name?
Oh, thank you. My name is Joey, I'm 19 years old, Ann Arbor, Michigan. And again, I come here, kindly, I want to respect your concerns. But from a personal standpoint, having an older brother, who's the sweetest guy, he struggled with mental health a lot in high school. And my parents didn't know exactly how to help him. And so we ended up sending him to Vermont, which is was hard for us because sending my brother so far away for help was something that my parents were not comfortable exactly doing. And I want to recognize that this is Superior Township, it's your township. And I'm from Ann Arbor, so I want to respect that. But if Garrett Space, the campus, is available in Superior Township, my brother had access to it, it would change so much that my family had to deal with. And now he's in Maine and he's doing good things. But for a family that didn't know what to do with someone who was struggling and sadly had to send him off to another state, it's a very hard thing to do. So I think it's a campus like this that would be so close would be a very important thing, not only to my family, but I know for many other people as well. So with that being said, thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you, Joey. I just wanted to let introduce yourself.
Yeah, I will. My name is Fred Lucas. I'm the attorney for the township. I've been a municipal attorney for 40 years. I just want to give you all a basic understanding of the process that this has to go through and why I would tell you that much of this tonight is premature. And I'm not being disrespectful. I just need you to understand the process. When a request for rezoning is made, the first step that occurs is that it must go before the planning commission. Planning commission is required to review that request and is required by law to have a public hearing. And they must notify, publish that public hearing, and it has to go before that planning commission. Planning commission will then make a recommendation, whether to approve the request, deny the request, or send it back for further consideration. Once that has occurred, and then, and only then, does that matter come before the township board. The township board at that time will then consider it. They have the right, I don't remember whether our ordinance provides for it, but they have the right at that point to request a public hearing, another public hearing. So consequently, two things I always try to tell people in these settings. One of the important things is that one of the surest ways, and we've got two very capable land use attorneys in this audience here today. One of the things I've always told every one of my communities with respect to these matters is it is important for them to not make any decisions and not to make any statements with regard to how they feel about these projects until they have heard everything. Because to do so would otherwise jeopardize the township's position and whether you're for or against it, the position of either side. So again, you guys obviously have the right to speak all you want, but I just wanted you to be aware of this, where we are in the process, which is we're not even up to step one. Step one is for this application to go before the planning commission. And at that point, they are required by law to have a public hearing, which will be published, noticed, and then everyone will have an opportunity to speak at that. And then and only then will they vote and make a recommendation, which then comes to the township board, and the township board will act at that point. Nothing can occur, will occur until there's been a public hearing published and noticed at the planning commission. And obviously, this board has no authority to take any action on this matter right now. Even if they wanted to vote, my answer to them would be, you have no right to vote at this point, period. So I just wanted you to be aware that you will have many opportunities before this even comes to fruition to voice your opinions and to make your statements. Yes, ma'am.
So what is the timing of going before the planning commission?
There is no, I don't know whether the planning commission is even received an application. They haven't even got an application. So until the application is received, they can't even set a public hearing or do anything at that. And that's the first step in the process before the planning commission.
Got it. So then, once they receive the application, what is the timeline from?
Well, generally speaking, from the time they receive it, they generally speaking within 30 to 60 days that they'll publish the public hearing. It can be longer, it can be shorter, depending upon, very simple ones are usually shorter, more complicated, more involved ones are longer. But they have to gather all the information that they need in order to make their determination. Then once they make their determination, again, they don't make a determination. They are only a recommending body. The ultimate decision then must come to the township board. And the township board at that point will again, and they have public hearings. We can have more than one. There's nothing that prevents them from having multiple public hearings. But the bottom line is I just wanted to let you guys know, nothing can and will ever happen without you receiving public notice of what's occurring. And in a way, as I said, I appreciate all your comments, but they're premature in the sense that we don't even have an application. All right?
Thank you, Fred. Yes.
You may, I'm 3979. You may, 3979 Fleming Ridge Drive. And I appreciate that information. However, I do want to present that I did receive a letter from Garrett States in February, and I actually put right butts against it. And I know it is not in the agenda, nor the planning has been submitted, but this land has been in contract since June of 2022. And as a mother and as a medical person who works in a hospital where things get missed when we treat patients and work with patients, I'm very afraid of that one error and one shot that could change the rest of our community members. I think many of us presented here today because we wanted to bring it up to you and express concerns regarding this new proposition because it has been in the works and you guys have been known, you guys were aware of it. And as of a community, I just wanted
you guys to hear that we are concerned and we wanted to bring it up to you guys prior to this coming to the hearing because we don't want to be last minute. It is something that we passionately feel about, and I do support cause, I cannot support patient, and I'll be speaking at the public hearing.
Thank you, you may.
Good evening, everyone. Tamaris Darby Jr. I'm a senior at Washington National High School, and I came from around the corner from North Huron Drive. I live in Ypsilanti, Ann Arbor, and I don't live in Superior Township. However, I just would like to address that Garrett Space is not a place that would be a psychiatric hospital. It's a place for young people and young adults who have problems with mental health to come and get the resources that they need to thrive because they have been failed in the past. It's no secret that mental health is a taboo. It's no secret that people do not feel that people who suffer from mental health are equal. In America, we get up, we put our shoes on, we put our boots on, we lace our shoes up, and we get to work, and we believe that all men are created equal. But do we believe that all men are created equal when it benefits us, or are all men created equal 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? Young people who suffer from mental health have been failed time and time again. And here we're talking about what can go wrong. What can go right? What can go right? Not getting most of the talking about. Because we can give mental health access to people who wouldn't be able to get this access otherwise. People do not have to travel to different states to get the help that they need to get because they can get it right here. Superior Township, I keep hearing some things about the location. It's not necessarily about the location. The cause is what's keeping it great. If not this location, then what location? It's pushing it out. There are people in Superior Township who suffer from mental health and who need this to be built. Superior Township works to create a better Michigan, and Michigan works to create a better America. And it's time to stop tearing each other down. It's time for us to embrace one another because each and every one of us has our own story and we've dealt with things. But I just want to say, all in all, before I sit down, this is something that is important and this is something that is serious. So I just want each and everybody to know and take this into account that you can make a difference and it starts now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Erin Lindsay. I live on Warren Road, between Dixborough Road and Voorhees. I've been here for 23 years. And I want to state that there's not a single person in this room that would be against Garrett's place. We think it's a wonderful idea. Nobody here would object to it. The problem is where you guys want to put it. It's in a residential neighborhood. We have several children whose backyards are literally next door to the 76 acres you guys want to build this. Okay, we love the idea of Garrett Space, but you can't friggin' put it right around where there's children. There's no property lines, there's no property borders. Nobody knows whose yard is what. They put these walking trails through 76. They want to put walking trails everywhere. They're going to wind up right. They're going to be directly interacting with our friggin' children. Listen, I'm going to read this. Our number one requirement as parents is to protect our children at all friggin' costs. Also, there are many elderly residents right on this street that live alone. If anybody were to come across and approach them and attack them, they'd be defenseless. You just wait. If a child gets attacked, what the hell's going to happen? These are volatile people. These are unstable people.
All right, thank you. Yes, sir, in the green jacket.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Perry Francis. I'm a licensed professional counselor and mental health provider. I'm also a professor of counseling at Eastern Michigan University and run a counseling training clinic. Let me first begin by acknowledging, I really appreciate how emotional this is for people. We come with our fears and our desires to help, and they come into a great clash right at the property line. And that property line helps define us as people. People who are willing to help and get past, well, actually myths. We know from research and from practice that people with mental health concerns, especially teenagers and the homeless, are more likely to be harmed than to do harm. They are more likely to die than to cause death. That is not a myth, that is a fact. But we live with those ideas that we get from television, those ideas that we hear of those one-offs. And I want to acknowledge that concern, to have a fear. And I want to say to the people who came up here with those heart-wrenching stories of friends who were sexually assaulted or concerns that your children might be hurt, but those are real, and I appreciate it. But they are myths, not the one that said this actually happened.
Excuse me, that's not a myth. That's not a myth.
Dr. Francis,
Yes.
you address the board.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Sir. And so, and I know this is premature, and thank you to your attorney for pointing that out. I wanted to give you that data and be more than willing to offer more data to the board when the time is appropriate. But let's be real. These are people who need help, just like all of us.
Thank you, doctor.
Because I think she'll be more professional about this than me. Yeah.
She said she's trying to get up.
Understanding it as
Hi, my name is Becky Brent. I teach a health and wellness class as well as an advanced public health policy class at community high school. And I also lead our depression awareness group. I'm also a mom of two pretty rad teens, and I've got a man who chooses to walk his life beside mine. And for that, I'm so grateful. I want to thank you all for this opportunity to express my unwavering support for Garrett's space. I stand with Garrett's family. I stand with my family. I stand with my 40 or so students that have come here from community high school. I stand with all families in the state of Michigan when I say we need Garrett space in this community. The level of crisis that we're moving through is deeply impacting young adults in our state. Suicide is one of the leading causes of death among youth and young adults in Michigan. Personally, in high school, I lost a dear friend of mine to suicide. And then in college, I lost another dear friend. They were not derelicts. They were just people who didn't have answers and didn't have support. And then I asked myself those same questions that we all ask ourselves. What could I have done differently? What could we have done differently? What could our community have done differently? Very professionally, I work with awesome students, Ann Arbor teens, who on a daily basis are reporting to me that their mental health difficulties are increasing for themselves and their peers. Some of my students are lucky enough to get the help that they need. Others are on wait lists, desperately trying to get their hands on any available resources. And their parents are calling me, say, do you have any ideas? And I'm saying, I don't have any more resources at this time. I'm so sorry. We have an opportunity here to set precedents in our state by centering on mental health and moving towards Garrett space. Their holistic wellness center will be a beacon of light in this community for those who just need time and space to figure things out. We know safe, supportive, compassionate spaces help heal. Thank you very much for your time.
All right, is there anybody else who wants to make a comment? Yeah.
My name is Wayne Stark. I live on Warren Road near Dicksboro in Superior Township. My wife and I have lived there owned the property since '85. We built the house in 2001. We raised 3 kids there. Thank you for the opportunity to address the board about this issue. First, let me mention that my son was a tennis player in high school, and as was Garrett. And they didn't play each other directly, but my son was on Huron, he was on Pioneer. I saw Garrett play. He was an excellent tennis player. So I really understand why you can't understand the loss that the helpers are feeling without Garrett. And so I'm fully in support of the concept of Garrett space. No one is denying whether we need a Garrett space or not. That's not the issue here. There are many places in this, even in Superior Township, where we have Garrett space. But putting it into a residential zone is not appropriate. First of all, the board needs to live by what's known as the master plan. And the master plan has goals for this area of Superior Township. This area of Superior Township in the master plan does not have any provision for a medical services district that would allow any type of medical facility in this place. It might not be the first place that, or the first type of use for this property, but it could evolve into that. So the master plan, this proposal doesn't agree with the master plan. Furthermore, this is a concept known as spot rezoning, where you take a particular spot and rezone it, inconsistent with the master plan and inconsistent with the neighborhood. And that has been found by the court to be something that's illegal. So for those reasons, I don't think this is an appropriate place to put Garrett space. Again, we all think Garrett space is the best possible thing to have, but not here.
Thank you, Wayne.
We've reached our half hour. I don't know how many more comments you want.
We're gonna take a few more. I think we're getting the sense, you know, of what people feel. It's kind of an economy here. And, you know, there's a lot more to come, I think, tonight, but go ahead and make it come.
Thank you. My name is Meredith Schindler. I live at 5880 Breland Road. I am a resident of Superior Township and I'm very much in favor of Garrett space. In my day job, I'm the executive director of the Canterbury Academy. Many of our students, as many young people do right now, struggle with depression. I have 2 children who struggle with depression, who've been hospitalized for depression. This kind of space is essential. And as the young man who put it so well, you know, if not here, where? As I recall, there's a giant church across the street from this property. I don't know, I wasn't here when that went down, but you know, there's a lot of different ways to use land. 20 or 30 people on 76 acres of land is not that much. And by definition, people who are suicidal want to hurt themselves. They do not want to hurt other people. The data is very clear. So I'm very much in favor. Just wanted to say that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Sorry.
Good afternoon. My name is Judy Gardner, and I live at 8301 Berkshire here in Superior Township. I was motivated to speak because the woman who spoke before me, everything she said resonates within myself. My day job, I am the executive director for the National Alliance on Mental Illness, and total support of these people here in Garrett States. I live in support of several loved ones with serious clinical depression and anxiety. I have a son who lives with clinical depression, who was just released from the hospital last week. If he had this type of space, he wouldn't have been in Detroit in a terrible facility that he didn't even need to be in. He just needed a good space to be in to heal. We needed a wellness space. So I am definitely in support of this. I know that's not what we're talking about. You'll see me again when we are.
All right, thank you, Judy.
Here's a microphone right here.
Here's a microphone.
Hear me?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Scott Halpert and I'm with Garrett Space. Thank you for mentioning my son earlier. He was incredible. lost to suicide 5 years ago. I was going to spend some time talking today about statistics and why Garrett space is so necessary. I think everybody here agrees it's necessary. I do want to share a couple of quick statistics about why it's necessary here. In Washington County, community mental health is serving over 20% more people, more young people this year versus last. And their mobile crisis team is responding most frequently to 20 to 30-year-olds right now. Young people in Superior Township are feeling the same challenges and feelings of loneliness and inadequacy as they are across the country. Our center will be here to support your children, nieces, nephews, and grandchildren, especially when you and they have nowhere else to turn. They'll be coming to Garrett Space voluntarily, seeking a lifeline through connections, support, and hope. So it's human nature to be cautious of change when it comes to your neighborhood. But there are two organizations right here in the Ann Arbor area where similar concerns were raised: Ozone House and Dawn Farms. These, as you know, are homeless centers for youth and addiction treatment centers. And they are located in the middle of residential areas. Worst case scenarios for them never panned out. They've been here for 50 years, both organizations, and they've not posed a danger to the neighborhood, and they've lived in harmony with the neighborhood. So we won't be serving young people who are actively suicidal, or those with psychosis or mania, or who pose a threat to others. We'll have experienced clinicians conducting rigorous screening of our applicants and continuing assessments while they're with us. We have leading mental health experts advising us at every aspect of our program.
Your time.
Thank you. Thank you. I got you.
We fall into the citizen participation statement for the website. There will be much on there. Everything will be, it needs to be noticed, will be noticed in conformance with law. And at this time, I would like to entertain a motion for closed session so we can, pursuant to MCL 152688, material exempt from discussion or disclosure by state statute, a written legal opinion from the township lawyer, which has nothing to do with the Garrett. Nothing. Right, so,
Yes.
Here.
Yes.
I know, right? How you doing? I gotta run and get a bear. They're running. Let's take her down. Great, come back. I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm gonna ask you all. No, you gotta go home, but you got a lot of.
You think you're going to remember to turn off Zoom?
Can we have your attention, please? Can we please ask that everyone vacate outside towards the front, so we need to move forward in the meeting? Thank you so much for coming.
Let it do their job, Dick.
Say that louder. You need to say that louder.
You might want to turn Zoom off.
No, I think they told everybody. We're just going for a couple of minutes. I don't know. I thought you guys were kicking everybody out and. I was trying to decide if I should take my purse. Yeah, I would take it. Yeah, I may. Yeah. No, you're fine. Yeah,
Presentation.
No, I don't. Yeah, so I got. Come over here. He gave me one. For free. Until they dust off the trailer. They have not been fired yet. The thing. Period. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yes, it's nothing.
That's what I did today. That's what I did today.
What?
Locked my keys in the car.
They come down?
No, I was at my brother's. He helped me. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not locking my keys again. I'm not locking my doors again.
Everything is yours.
I'll get you on speed dial then.
One second. Oh.
Phenomenal.
Yes. When I was in seventh grade. Senior.
Why high?
Okay.
Why high?
Okay, I did not see that comment. Oh, awesome. Jessica's next door. I have.
You gotta come back to it.
Those are some.
Yeah, you
Yeah, we'll do it
Absolutely.
again.
You can.
In class.
What mine will do.
Possibly something. Yeah.
Come along. Very nice job. Expect to see you when I'm long gone and retired.
Big places, yeah.
Oh,
Where
absolutely.
is Lieutenant
Let me go get
Flores?
Jess. He
Deputy
in here for
Wyatt?
Jessica.
How old were you? 11, when I did it. Okay. I'm off to near the top, and even though I've never wanted to per se go into law enforcement, always it's been helpful because I also do the Detroit Police Department, their law enforcement program, and I've been doing that since I was in seventh grade too. It's been amazing. Like, we learn a lot of soft skills and different things.
Meetings now? Just avoid this.
No.
On the agenda.
There's nothing to do. But if the attorney has to give them privileged information, he has to go into closed session.
Oh, turn it off, you got it. You didn't lock it. Okay. And
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, it's 8:20 and we'll be back in session as soon as Bernice comes back.
What time did you guys leave? What time was that? Does anybody know?
7:56.
Next time, order some pizza.
No, they never would. Meeting still be going on.
No, stop.
Oh, Dave.
Right. Is it?
Come back here, let's check it out.
Is it just East?
Come back here, let's check it out. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, girl, this is not, yeah.
Grab your arm.
I want this.
Right here, right outside here. You something that right, because the guys have her. Yeah, yeah. She's just talking.
Wait, no, Bernice. Oh, Bernice, okay. Lynette?
Let them know.
Oh, yeah, she's coming. She's helping Nancy.
Okay.
Okay, we're back in open session at 8:21. Can I have a motion, please?
I'd like to make a motion to instruct our township attorney to proceed with the matter as discussed in closed session.
Then what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
Seeing none.
Finley, no. Patterson, absent. Lewis, yes. Linky, yes. Yeah, yes. T. Present, Schwartz.
Yes. Okay. Okay, that takes us down to presentations and public hearings, which we have none tonight. That takes us down to the report. Mine very brief. I don't know if anybody from the board knows of the Catherine Davis house is at. It's located on Plymouth Road. It's a old Greek. It's called Catherine House. It's slated for development in that area by Lombardo. They'll be back. I think they have cleared the planning commission, but they got to come back to us for the board. So they made us an offer, and the offer was, if you want the house, you guys can have it. Okay, so it has maybe some historic value. But you know, you got to move it, you got to get permits to move it, but we'll give you the house. So Bill and I went out, we took a look at it on last Thursday, and we got inside the house. And Bill, you want to just describe what we saw up there?
Very old. It's total gut when we try to save it. It probably cost 10 times what it's worth to try to move it and save it. It's old.
So it needs to be stripped to the, where's it at? Remember where that what was it, athletic center was gonna be on that 40 acres? In Arbor Road, so as you're driving west, coming through the stop to N-153, it's the first house on the right, it's all buried in trees,
Really
brush, very.
Brady.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So, the question for the board, we don't have to answer tonight, is do you want the house, and then we would be responsible for relocating it and fixing it up back to total code, I guess, right, Bill?
Yeah, you have to gut it
You'd have to go and put a new foundation on it too.
and put it on a new foundation, and the age of it in its current condition, it may not survive going down the road.
Yeah. Right. So, I mean, unless somebody, wants to save it, I think we should just tell them, go ahead with your plan. They've already presented it to the planning commission. They're coming back to the planning commission. The Lombardo property. Okay. So,
We don't want it.
I don't want it because it'd be nice, if we had unlimited funds, but we don't.
We don't.
Okay, we'll move on. So my report now, that was second is that we had filed a CTAP report for the $5,000 we received last year to offset the cost of the shed in the Vicksboro region. The appraiser is coming out on Thursday at 8:30 in the morning. If you're interested in joining, he's going to meet with Tom Freeman. I don't know if I'll be there or not, probably not. And they're going to do a walkthrough of the property and walk through the old schoolhouse. We hired Jalen Smith. Yeah, Jalen Smith to clean up a huge mess on Godwinson Road and Harris Road and Cherry Hill. They were just garbage dump everywhere. Well, then I went out and we took a look at it. And so we hired him to do it, and him and Rob Butler did it. It took them several days. They filled several dumpsters up, and we're gonna end up paying them $9.
Is that like an illegal dumping, or all illegal? Wow.
Here, all this stuff there, it just built up over the whole, so we had to get rid of it. Then the checks for the Oakbrook sign came in, so we'll execute the contract tomorrow and we'll put that money in trust and agency, and once they're built, we'll pay the people off that are building it. The board review met last week. Irma was there for many hours of time and did the veterans exception, the poverty, and the questions on value. So Paula, who would normally have kind of a report ready for now, her brother died on Saturday, and so she's out in Wyoming, and I think she's out in Wyoming or Colorado. I think he died in Colorado, Wyoming, but they like to come. And so just found out about it this morning, and so she'll have the report ready, and we'll just give you the figures when we get back next month. There's been a lot of tree damage in subdivisions. I think people have seen it. People have pulled it to the curbs for the most part, but people are not like cutting it up into 2-foot section, bundling it, and doing everything. I think that I'd like the board just to give me the authority to go out and hire someone to do it, to just go around the subdivision, chip all the wood that's sitting in front of people's houses, or a contract not to exceed $5,000.
I had seen some folks doing that the other day, and I didn't know if they were doing it on behalf of the township or what.
We had to be stump removals. That was all we had.
Okay.
Was a free stump removal.
Okay, so these were private,
They were private.
and they were just keeping it good because they're making these themselves. It was like those, the tree chipper trucks.
Yeah. So, there's a lot that's out there. People keep calling, that we tell them the road commission, of course, the road commission doesn't do anything to get out of the roadway, and that's on the way. So I would like to have some authority to go ahead and get somebody out there to chip things. So not to exceed $5,000 on that. And that is it. That's my report for tonight.
And would that be all over the township? Is that it?
Well, I think, it'd be mainly in the subdivisions, because they don't have any place like outside where mine is. I can drag it out to a fire and burn it. Most of the people, I think, can deal with it if they're not in a subdivision. And there's not tons and tons of it, but there is quite a bit, and a lot of it is owned by people who are elderly. They call me up, I can afford this. If you wanted to go up to the Dixboro area, that would
No,
be fine.
people were asking me, and I just want to, that's not to them, but in our area, we can burn it.
Yeah.
I wanted to. Going back to what you said about the schoolhouse. You said this, that they're going into the schoolhouse. You're talking about the whole village green appraisal.
Yes. But they gotta go in there.
Right.
And what was that date for the appraisal? Sorry.
Thursday, 8:30.
This Thursday?
Yep, at the Village Green. Okay, that will take us down to liaison.
Chipper truck.
That'd be great.
I'd like to make a motion to, allow for the hiring of a chipper truck not to exceed $5,000 to remove that's important. Stuff.
Okay.
Subdivisions. And it can exceed
Any discussion, seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're gonna move. Liaison report, Lindsay.
I don't have one of this.
Okay, community advisory update from the clerk.
Very quick. The meeting with Debbie Dingle and Congresswoman Debbie Dingle and other individual wasn't today, obviously. It will be at the end of the month. We also, in our last meeting, talked about dividing up into committees. So we have 5 subgroups, 5 committees that we can work on. Those committees are report. It's the one that's dated from March 7th. Is it dated from March 7th? Okay, we're good. It's not today.
No, there's some
Said the March 20th meeting on my report. Oh, okay. Okay, thank you. So anyway, facilities, partnerships, and resource development, community engagement and programming. And they're clearly making sure that people understand that will be inside the rec center, with the white, community center and YMCA. So they're very distinguished that we have portion of it. And I want to report next time.
All right, thank you. Do we have a report for the ARPA committee?
No,
All right.
I think we can.
So can I get a motion on the building, fire, parks, and sheriff's report?
Report.
All right, are there any questions on that?
Wait just a second. Oh, I know what I wanted to ask you. The lieutenant's not. So it was, just when I reviewed the reports, there was a report of the number of stops, police stops that we made. And I want to say, right, so there are, the deputies conducted 309 traffic stops, and they issued 81 citations. So they only issued 26% of the stops with citations. So what I would like to see is where those citations are in the county, or not the county, but the township, just because I'd really like to start looking at Danbury Green and the other argument was that. Because I think because we send or we have that subcontract, to spend time there, that maybe we're, having a stronger police presence there. So you see more things happen. For instance, I live on, I'm living out in this row on Plymouth. I think you can see speeding all the time, but we don't have as much police presence. So I would just like to see. Do we, are we right?
I can ask her if the general.
That would be cool.
Any other questions on?
I was just looking at the month over month, 2023 in the same month, 309 and 309. The yearly dates are pretty similar, but we've had a 5% increase in the traffic stops. And I would agree that it's worth taking a look at where those traffic stops are happening. And if there's only a 20% actual, 26% written, what are those stops? What's going on that's causing the stoppage and the not first action? Any action?
Okay, I'll see what I can. In the sheriff here to provide us some information on where the stops are and what. All right, so all in favor of receiving the reports as presented, say aye. Aye. It takes us to communications. Can I get a motion to receive all the letters from the community regarding the rezoning at 3900 North Fishkill Road?
So
Support.
Okay, yeah, can you say that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So Lynette, how's that going to be handled? Are you going to just attach them all for the minutes and then? One by one, yeah. Okay.
I have one question that just popped up to me. When it says residents of Ann Arbor, is that residents of Ann Arbor, Superior Township or residents of Ann Arbor proper? Okay.
Superior.
In Superior. No, on her, this girl, all of the rezoning. Because she broke it down and it said residents, but then residents of Ann Arbor. So I think we should just say Superior.
No, those ones are people from Ann Arbor.
These are residents of Ann Arbor.
There are residents, the report you have was updated because of, one,
Which was the update?
okay, so what you have in the update. Those that are opposing, those that are in favor. Then what we did is we took out those that supported the project. Because a lot of those letters were letters from when they wrote the grant. And that was a concern with one of our residents. So it was a valid concern, so I switched it around.
Thank you. Now, did we have a vote on receiving? Okay. Okay, that takes us down to our regular agenda. That is unfinished business, pump station update. I think for the update is we retained the attorney, and the attorney wants us as one of our motions tonight to validate his authority to go ahead and to claim a default on the contract and proceed to evict all the machines that anything that's owned by LaSalle should be removed from the site as soon as possible. And then we need to kind of clean the site up a bit. We need to spread some stone. We need to work with the Parks Department. County Parks is going to send me another easement. We have an construction easement that's expired now. So they're going to send us another easement, and they need to get some of that stone laid down because they want to build some bridges back there. Do some other things, so they got to get.
So that there's a resolution that we need to 2023.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so that's unfinished business, and then the master plan update. Ben's coming in on Thursday and to talk about everything planning. And my understanding is that they were waiting on some census material, but they decided that it's taking too long. They're just going to go forward with, the information that they have now.
From Stephanie.
From, I guess it's. And then the Oakford signage update, I did get, what you said earlier. Checks, we build, D2. More, I don't know what the meeting.
Okay, it's not like everybody knew it was not.
No, although I'm asking there specifically, like where they're at, when we can get these things moving again. Purpose, talked about that. Evaluate continuing contracts with Taz and OHM. We haven't done much on OHM or Taz, to be honest with you. You want to set a special meeting? At some point, I think we will have a special meeting on the rock property because I talked to Fred. Fred's going to draft conservation easement for us. So we'll have a meeting, and at that meeting we can look at that, and then also set up time for whatever committee you want to set up.
So I noticed in our board packets that we have something from Mr. Peach to do gardens. So before we vote on that, I would recommend we.
Well, that's fine, but what Steve Peach, he's on later for the lease on the rock property. He needs a definite answer on that because so he's on time constraint on that. And all he's going to do is do exactly what he did last year, is to plant and maintain the soils until we have a plan that we can. And so we don't want it to grow with invasive weeds and trees that will grow very fast if we don't take care of it.
What does he grow out there?
I mean,
What does he grow?
he grew field corn and soybeans.
Okay.
And then a signed release from Tom Lawton. Brad and I are meeting with Lawson on Wednesday at 1 o'clock. I'm not happy about this because he said, I want to talk to your attorney. Just got back from town. And so he needs to sign that. Yeah, you got an update, Brad?
Yeah, I spoke to Joe Lloyd this afternoon. Lawson had not contacted his attorney regarding that. So it was only after I called Joe and Joe called Lawson. I think that, for some reason, he was concerned about the size of the heat, which is, I don't really understand. But
8 foot.
Right, well, he doesn't think we need more than about 2. So,
well, we have to comply with the grant request.
Of course we do.
Do you have anything in writing that he said he was going to sign up?
He has nothing in writing other because he wouldn't sign anything, that prepared everything, which I sent him over to about 2 months.
Yeah, because he.
We met with him just before the meeting. But we met with, Fred and I met with him just before the meeting in December. We came in and we voted on that. And then he went out of town. And now he's back. And so he wants to talk to Fred. We're going to meet with him on Wednesday at 1 o'clock, I believe here. And hopefully we'll sign the easement. We'll have Nancy notarize it. And
So can another official go along just because I think, we talked about
other
that.
people who sit there.
Just need to be there because Ken, when you're gone, you need to be aware of what's going on. And I think it would just be real helpful to have an official.
Yeah, I think having one like Lynette or Lisa there, that's fine.
Okay, great.
I want him to realize that you're holding them.
Great.
And we've been more than fair. And if you're not going to go forward, we're going to.
Just let us know.
Yeah. And then detailed report of them built up and promoted, and I think George had provided the 3 of us, I know, would submit today. And the trustees.
Okay, yeah, he sent it to everybody, that was a few days ago. He said, he should come on the 16th and it was on the 17th.
Okay.
I guess I got 2.
Okay, so you can review that and talk to George if you want, or you can ask George questions now, but given the time, I think we should move on. So that takes us to resolution 2312, and that is to commit the remainder of ARPA funds to the proposed community center.
We put a new one in front of you, draft. Because earlier today, it was just, we had a few projects. So what I did is just update this, and I checked with a few people to make sure this is all inclusive. What we have left, well, what we received in ARPA dollars, this was, I talked to Nancy to make sure that this was the right amount. We received, or are going to receive, $1,501,402.52. But anyway, so we have on this resolution all of the projects that we've agreed to date to either contract for services or there's a couple things like Superior Township Parks and Recreation budget requirements, park playground equipment for $50,000, and then the remaining commitment to Mighty Oaks after the transportation agreement. Mighty Oaks.
There's a typo in that. You said 85,000 instead of 8,000.
Where's, did I say 85,000?
So let me ask for this. Do we need to table this and just correct the resolution? I think we're all in agreement we want to do this.
Yeah, no, this is just
I don't
to,
know why. I don't even remember. 85,000.
yeah, no,
It's 8,500. So anyway, so we have $1,016,902.52 remaining. What we are going to do was reserve that funding for actually all of that remaining funding for the community center, but I'd like to talk about with you maybe friendly amendment so we can still have some community for some of these funds go to the Arts and Education Department for Fireman's Fund.
What's the summary?
And I also see it.
Okay. Yeah, we are all in agreement. Let's just table it and get everything straightened out.
I think we need to.
yeah, let's get Parks and Rec
Yeah.
in there based on the discussion that we had earlier, because I think we overlooked that.
Because we need to address some proposals that Juan had brought to us, like maybe in September or October.
Back in November,
Right.
almost a year ago.
With regards to Fireman's Department.
Okay.
So we can then talk about that and then maybe.
Let me give you a quick 2 minutes.
I think we're gonna move on. Can I get a motion to table?
Yeah, we're gonna
We're gonna table.
Okay.
All right. All in
And then
favor, table. All right. Be brought back at the next meeting. Turn that right over here.
Not that I know.
Okay. Next item is the resolution to allow the Water Resources Commissioner to exceed statutory spending limit $25,000 per year for the maintenance and repair of Kimmel Drain. Now, what this means is that every year the Drain Commissioner or the Water Resources Commissioner gets X amount of dollars for the Kimmel Drain, but they're only allowed to spend 1 year at a time unless we granted permission to spend the 3 years in 1 year. They want to go over here and they want to begin to go through the property over there and get the banks restored and get them mowed, used for quite a bit. So it's really, they're just asking us to spend future money on this.
So are they won't.
Oh, crap.
It's their money. The law says you have to spend it in the year to receive it unless you get a waiver. Okay, can I get a motion?
Support.
All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed, seeing none? Resolution 2314, resolution to purchase and install emergency vehicle lighting. That's this is on the fire marshal vehicle. Okay, Dan, are you so moved? Let's get some support for you on the table. Dan, do you want to address the board about it? I think the chief had something.
Yeah, there's a
There's a emergency lights for all standard. Answer questions if you have.
Resolution it addresses siren and radio system as well. And it looks like the about the three, they were both in that bid. We're not going to bid invoice. So do we need to make sure that the resolutions going beyond just
It's got to be radios, it has, we have the radio, it needs to be installed. So they will be the ones installed.
so we need to say
You can be fine.
And
Okay,
in
so,
Windows, Windows.
and it's gonna come out of line item 206-336-980-000. We have a motion, so can we? All right, just make sure. Any other questions?
Yeah, just the resolution itself, installation is always complicated in emergency. Okay, great.
But else, saying none, all in favor of approving the resolution as to be amended to the typo, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No opposed. Okay, this is resolution 2315. And Jeff, why don't you come on up and tell the board what this machine is and why you need it?
Okay. So these are CPR assist devices. So what they do is they allow us to put a patient on a board and provide better quality CPR. The Lucas device has a high save rate. Which currently right now, the save rate is about 51%. These devices are going to be able to hopefully bring that up. It allows us to continuously do compressions on a person in cardiac arrest.
So Jeff, you strap this on to the.
So it's a half board with a suction cup that goes down the chest. And it provides compression at the proper depth, but it also brings the chest back up so the heart mimicking working. So it pushes the blood out, fills the blood back up. So as it's doing that, it's oxygenating the blood, the body, and it's allowing for proper oxygenation, even though the person is basically seized at that point. And we would currently, the current board we have isn't the same style board, and it's historically out of service. So we've had nothing but problems with it. These Lucas devices are nationwide. Several departments around the area to use them.
So this is a life-saving device.
Absolutely.
How long will it last? The years we have.
And at least. So I don't know which one he proposed. There were two different prices, so I just want to make sure that
The Striker Lucas 3 with the total cost of $48,016.28.
okay,
Is that, it's a Striker
That's
Lucas
right.
3, is that the?
that's the one. I didn't know because there were two different quotes. So this quote has a warranty and a battery replacement plan because they're electric. So that's why the price is different. If you have the other quotes, I don't know.
Comes with a charger.
It'll come with a charger, it comes with a desktop charger, it comes with a plug so we can plug it in on the scene if the battery dies. So it's continuous. We plug it in the back of the ambulance. So we never stop working.
All right, thank you, Jeff. Does anybody have any questions about?
Other question I have is with regards to how we came to ARPA as the location for those funds to come from.
Yeah.
No, man.
Resolution, but that was just.
Oh, it was on the sheet. No. Okay. Okay.
That was all.
But I have a question because in the chief's memo to COVID, there's been several incidents where you didn't. What was it before COVID? That we've seen like an increase?
Increase in cardiac arrest.
Actually,
I believe so. It's not just here.
And a lot of it is because they are leaving the side of someone who's saying, oh, but there's some lingering effect that's occurred. Exactly, then that's what happens.
And if somebody has COVID, when we were in our COVID protocol, which we still are, we couldn't have a bunch of people around the patient because of exposure. So what this would allow us to do is leave one person with the machine breathing for the patient, and then the machine will do the work of 4 people. So.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. So we got a motion support. Any more questions? This will be saving lives. So we have an excellent fire department. Anyway, so all in favor of giving the Lucas device, which Fred has no interest in, I'm sure.
No, go ahead, finish your, I'm waiting for you to finish.
Say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
Gentlemen here, they lost their phone. If anybody, did anybody see one?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Yes.
I was about to say, you want us to dial?
What's the number?
Okay, that takes us to resolution to authorize Ronald Darrow to take action necessary to collect the township in connection with the contract with LaSalle. Mr. Darrow needs this authorization to enter the default against the contract, and then it allows him to move forward with a lawsuit, but we have to give the notice first, and then after they get notice, we'll remove everything from the site, and then the lawsuit will be on.
So,
Any questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye. And that you are. Yeah, okay, so that's unanimous. And then the resolution to approve all everything advisory forward engineering services for systems with controls and operation of the existing water booster station. George, you or Ricky or Mary want to address this? Yeah, we can get a motion. George, you want to
So as part of our water master plan update, we did late last year, in February, we had mentioned follow-up item. We had been working with Ricky to optimize some of the controls of the booster station, operate the pumps more efficiently.
On the CPR device?
Yeah.
No.
We'll do in terms of us working with UIS, township's data provider. So going through some different scenarios and adjusting some of the pump settings and controls of the station. I don't know, Rick, would you like to add anything?
Yeah, we just need the pumps operating more than they have.
Not about this.
They don't operate now, and they only time they get operated, we have a main break, and they need to be in rotation because we don't want those pumps to seize up and not working when we really need them. Two, right now,
a matter of me.
yeah, and also it'll give us opportunity to my team to learn that booster station, because when people retire, all the knowledge moves with them.
So this is like when you turn your toilet valve off and on to exercise the gas, basically it's the same thing. Okay.
It'll optimize the pump settings, and mainly during a high flow situation, make sure both pumps are running at the same time. The biggest issue.
To avoid low pressure. Right. Okay, so we got motion and support. Are there any more questions on this? It's $8,000.
Lynette, did you get the?
All in favor?
Can I stop you for a second?
Yeah.
This is really what I want. With the expenditure of funds, I think you should be having a roll call on when you're on the expenditure of fund motions. And that also would.
Well, I usually do that and say it's unanimous, but you're saying, thank you, that might technically be okay, but you prefer.
Yeah, and even going back to the motion for this expenditure for the Lucas device.
Yeah, I know. All right, so we'll do that going forward, Fred, but I've always if it's unanimous, figured it's
I understand.
unanimous roll call. All right, we'll
Just covering.
All right, so, going forward here, so we got the resolution number 18, we've heard what it's about. Wait a minute. Sorry. Yeah, 17, we know what it's about. got a motion and support on the table. Can we get a roll call vote? Sure.
Absent. Finley, yes. Lewis.
Yeah.
Winky. Yes. McGill. Yes. Secrets absent. Schwartz.
Yes. That takes us to resolution 2318, and this is a resolution to replace and install the air dryer and an oil water separator. I believe this is down at the maintenance facility.
Yes, it's for the compressor. That's very well needed. I mean, like Ingersoll told us, it went well beyond time. And we've been in that business since 2008, and we got 15 years out of when it's a 10-year.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. And it's good. It's for the lift, the truck lift.
Okay, so can I get a motion?
So
Support. All right, any comments? Seeing none. Go
I
ahead.
have a comment.
Okay.
Your team does amazing with maintenance of things. I want to just commend you and the utility maintenance department, because just from coming down there and touring with you and seeing all the things that you do, you make so much out of, things. You keep them moving, you keep them working. And you've saved our township residents so much money above and beyond what they may ever recognize and understand. But if you do nothing else as a resident of Superior Township, I beg of you to get to understand and know the value of our utility maintenance department. Thank you.
We have an outstanding fire department.
We got an outstanding fire department too. I think I put a note in there for them too.
An outstanding utility maintenance. We're in good shape.
Very plus. Parks and Rec.
Reached out to last
Yeah, you too.
gentleman came in, who said his grandson was basement was flooded, and when I called Ricky had already taken care of it earlier in the morning. I told Grandpa, I said, Grandpa, go ahead and flush the toilet when you go back. If it doesn't work, call me. And then I'll take you back. Okay.
Thank you.
But just so you know, us the minister, Mary, she's. Just want to put that right.
Finley, yes. Lewis?
Yeah.
Patterson, absent. Wendy? Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Secrets, absent. Schwartz?
Yes. All right, that takes us to resolution 2319, and this is our annual purchase of services agreement with the Ann Arbor Transportation Authority. The cost, they just got it to us. I mean, they should have gotten to this in September, but they didn't. For 2023 is the fixed route service is 63,347. The A ride service is 22,819, and the capital cost is offsetting the cost of acquisition of new equipment, including buses, is 13,872 for a total cost for the year of $100,038. If I could get a motion.
So moved.
Support.
Moved and support. Are there any questions?
Yeah, what, if this contract began in October,
Mhm.
and you're saying that we just got it from them?
Got it.
He did.
So I
We
believe
got it. What happened? It said like 3 or 4 bills.
Right.
And that's what triggered not knowing that they didn't send the contract yet.
so
The
we
bank had it a couple of weeks and then they sent the bills. So when Nancy was inquiring about the contract, who knows, we didn't have a contract in Karen.
They did a lot. Okay, and that hard. Should have been done a long time ago. All right, so Lynette, we got a motion and support. We have a roll call vote on this.
Schwartz?
Yes.
Secrets, absent. McGill? Yes. Winky? Yes. Lewis?
Yeah.
Finley, yes. Patterson, absent. Yeah.
Okay, and the next is the resolution to, we already did. Resolution 20, resolution to approve contract with Washington Intermediate School District to provide services.
Support.
Before you vote, I just want to let you know that
sat through the whole long meeting here, Marty Long, Colleen Close, we all know. From Washington American School District, the overseeing that project, so, been talking with them, real excited for them to get going. Fred was working with them, getting the contract prepared, so just wanted to let you know they were in the room and talked out the whole meeting for you guys, in case you had any questions.
Total cost is $50,000, not to exceed $50,000. So do we have a motion to support on page?
Yeah.
Any more questions? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Henry, yes. Everything absent. Wendy? Yes. Louis? Yes. Miguel?
Yes.
Steve Ross? Absent. Schwartz?
Yes. The next is a motion to approve monthly pay of Parks and Recreation at trustees.
No, we got a presentation on that from, it's a presentation to the board. It's a,
Am I?
It's the fees for the application.
There's no,
Jay shouldn't be on there.
All right, so we're gonna strike J. We're gonna strike J.
We don't have any background on resolution.
no, we don't have it.
I think that this one was Steve Linky, but we can deal with this.
We don't. Jay.
What you tabled it last.
That's what I'm saying, but we didn't bring him, right?
I can talk about it. If you want something.
I think it just says. Writing.
Okay.
So why don't we just table this? Get a motion to table?
So.
We're gonna retake, we're taking one of the parks.
Or we table?
Yeah.
Oh, no, we take it.
Okay.
Yeah. So motions. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
It takes us down to motion to revise building permit fees. Bill Baums, our building inspector, is here to present.
Okay, thank you for your time. What we're basically looking to do is to revise the permit applications. They've not been seriously revised since 2011. It says fees, it's not just a fees, the format didn't even have a proper email address on it. And the line item selections on the trade permits were very lacking. Our staff spends a lot of time answering questions, telling people how to figure out how to fill out a permit because it's very vague. So what I've done is made it more comprehensive. So you can just come in and check it off and make it simple. And as far as the fees go, what I've done is I take a look at all the neighbors' permits and brought us more online with what our neighbors are charging. In some cases, we're a little bit more, in other cases, we're a lot less. It covers our costs better. Because since Rick left, he was covering mechanical and plumbing as well. Now we contract someone to do that, and some of the fees we collect don't cover the cost. So no one's getting rich here. It's just bringing us into the 21st century.
Support.
Any
And
other
I'd just like to ask, who is the gentleman that's speaking to us?
right now? Yeah, it's our building inspector, Bill
But
Baums.
does everybody know that?
Thank you, Bill. All right. Let's do a resolution. Roll call.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, should be a resolution here to finalize the design for the Harris Road widening engineer. Widening engineering.
Motion.
Do we have a resolution?
We got that.
Well, that's it. Well, that's it. There's no writing.
Well, the letter was from the special meeting. It was originally on the special meeting. It got tabled.
You said it should not be on this.
All right, so do you guys want to table this and we'll bring it back next time? Or-
What does that do to you?
I was gonna ask that too.
That's an amendment. It was a request for an amendment. And then this spring to finish the inspection and administration. And I need to come back and finish the crosswalks on MacArthur and at Harris. I mean, we're gonna obviously do it either way.
Beacon.
That's going through insurance claim, yeah. The amendment request was 41,000 total. 34,000 of which will be submitted for reimbursement through the grant that you have and to the state. 7,000 of which will then go towards the library for their pass through.
So just so the board knows, I did submit, I should put this one to question. Might have said it at the last meeting, I don't know, that I did submit all the billing and invoicing for the state grant and have requested for the remainder of the money to come, which would incorporate this. And the other money will be charged off to the library. And I'll have the logo on to say about when we get to please the petition. So knowing that, do you want to go ahead and just move forward tonight, please?
Support.
Let's just call the question when it.
Lindsay? Yes. Lewis? Yes. Finley? Yes. Patterson? Absent. McGill?
Yes.
Seacrest? Absent.
Yes. Instead of motion to authorize OHM to finalize design for open cut and complete the pump station. I didn't see that.
That was another one that was tabled in the special meeting. Letter we just. You want to give a little more?
No, this
Yeah.
one's big, so we have.
All right, well, what,
So this one, this is basically a new proposal to revise for the open cut design. Put together the bidding document, approved to the state, rebid the project, select a new contractor, provide all the construction services. Likely through the summer.
and what was the cost of the proposal?
132.
980. This, we have the minutes.
Well, and it's also in the memo that he sent out on the 16th or 17th.
Well, we do need to design it no matter what, and Fred's here, I think, I don't know, but getting the open cut design, is that a time is of the essence? Does Ron need that for figuring out damages?
No, I don't believe that is, look, he files a complaint, he's only gonna be asking for an amount in excess of $20,000. That's what the court was requiring. As far as the amount itself, the ultimate amount, that's gonna be an ongoing process, because those numbers are gonna change. So I don't see any urgent need from a standpoint of the litigation.
Okay.
To have that number now. I mean, it's really more a matter of, is it necessary from an engineering standpoint for us to get this job done? As opposed to from a standpoint of, is it necessary?
Yeah, it's two separate issues. Time is of the essence if we want to finish this project. Absolutely. It needs to be bid in the next 30 days.
I
We want to get
should
good
move
price.
forward with it. You are engineers, and we need to complete this project. Time is of the essence on the project, so I'd entertain a motion. If anybody wants to make a motion on it. If not,
I could just say on a motion, make it, I would like to get Dennis' position on this, as approval that we go forward with that.
okay.
Okay, just to make sure we're not interfering with this case. I mean,
Okay.
You can approve it subject to Mr. Gunner would not have any objections to doing it this time.
All right, so how's that sound, board? Additional approval subject to Mr. Dillon was, review and approve.
I can do that.
You can,
I'll
okay,
move.
okay, support. Do we have support from that? Support. Okay, any more questions? Seeing anyone else, we'll roll call.
Harrison, absent, Lewis.
Yeah.
Wendy. Yes. McGill.
Yes.
Secret, applicant Schwartz.
Yes.
And Whitney, yes.
The next one is motion to approve the maintenance of the pump had by DPM. We had that at the last meeting. I will say that we did approve the tree removal, and the tree removal is already occurred. So I stopped by and looked at the shafts, and they have been somewhat jerry rigged to be safe. They put like a bicycle racks around them, and they raised up like a 6-foot fence around them. But we just can't have these shifting. They need to be managed. So I think the amount was 58,000.
So for the shaft maintenance, it was not to exceed 80. So that's probably over the next 3 to 4 months until we can start to open up or until we get a new contractor on board. So DVL will make likely weekly visits, pump the water out of the steel, out of the shafts, do a visual check, and that's really what it's for, just to make sure they're not deteriorating, not moving, not shifting, not settling.
Well, when I was down there, they were pumping, and they were checking it. LaSalle was there checking on the pumping. So they were kind of looking at it, you know, but as soon as they get the default on, they're off the job. So I think we need to move forward with this with DVM. And DVM came in a lot less on the motion was not to exceed 60. I think they come in at 48. So
yeah,
they came in lower than. So we got a motion.
I just have to do it.
When you say that,
But we looked at the documents.
still,
Yeah, and I think this motion is more to authorize the supervisors to get an agreement with DVM for not to exceed amount. You're not necessarily approving an agreement or a contract.
Wasn't the ask at the last meeting?
That was for the tree removal.
Yes.
Yeah.
There was an ask at the last meeting.
Yeah.
and we decided we
There was
would
two,
table it.
yeah, tree removal and then the shaft maintenance fee. For the tree removal, that contract is done. And now this is for the shaft maintenance, which LaSalle will be pulling on as soon as Ron contacts him tomorrow or the next day. Whatever.
But again, you could make it contingent upon Ron, you know, authorizing it to go ahead with it, done with.
Is that a friendly motion? Can somebody make a friendly motion to that? Or that is approve subject to Ron Dillon's approval? That's a necessary item.
Or that,
All right, point.
have two motions that were. Right.
Got it. Okay, well, then would you read the crop?
Harrison, absent. Finley, yes. Lewis.
Yes.
Katie, yes. McGill.
Yes.
Secret, absent, Schwartz.
Yes. So the next one is the lease identical that we had last year with Steve Peach to farm the land, the rock land, and I think we need to approve it because it's going to maintain the soils. Planning is going to happen out there. It's probably going to take a year or so to plan what you want out there and how you're going to set it up out there. And this way, at least it's staying in productive farmland, and he's managing the weeds and the invasives out there by doing this. So I think we should go forward with the 1 more year.
I was gonna say, I'm okay with that. I understand the reasoning behind it, but I think we need to be intentional about making sure we schedule a date for that discussion, because we're in the second season with this, Mr. Peach, and we have not talked or discussed any plans for what we're going to do in terms of programs at Rock Properties. And now we've got our kids gonna be busy all summer, and we are trying to provide them.
So I would suggest that this week I'll send out a request to the board member, what's a good date for the special meeting? And we'll need to take a look at conservation easement that Fred's drafting. And then also at that time, we can get a little bit into what would be the desire of the board as far as programming goes, and whether or not you want to delegate this to the parks or maintain it as our own entity.
No, that would be a really good discussion. So do we have to make this decision right now? We had this working session like in a week or so.
I think so, because he's got to buy a
He's
seed.
got to, I mean, I understand
Yes,
that
he's like,
this is the season for all people.
Oh, that is there. Okay. I didn't see her.
Okay.
So
So,
why don't you address the board?
So I actually already purchased a lot of seed because typically farmers buy seed like in the fall
Mhm.
prior to the planting of the following spring, sometimes even earlier than that. So I've already bought the seed. I've already got everything there. I did plant a cover crop on most of it. So there's something still growing instead of weeds. So I mean, obviously it's up to you, but I've already kind of got the ball rolling in
so
hopes that we
should-
can
okay,
continue.
So we should just have this working session soon to talk about.
the future, yeah. Yeah, no, I'm not opposed to maintaining that property. In fact, we appreciate it. But
What are you
just want to
planting
know.
this year?
There will be corn on the south side and soybeans on the north.
Okay. That was swapped from last year, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. So do we have a motion on this?
Some
And support from Lisa. Okay, this one is not monetary, so all in favor of this agreement, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That takes us to the motion to approve the amended, it's not really permit for the well, is actually the amended, cost for, Quigley to go out and drill. So here's what happened. Is years ago, there was at Gibbons Antique Store, that was a gas station. And so the DEQ did order them to be removed, which they were removed. And I remember seeing that in the Act 201 somewhere at some point, so I was telling the county sanitarian that, hey, that was all done. And so he checked and he said, no, it wasn't. So I called the person in charge of the state, Russ, underground, leaking underground storage tanks person, and he said, yes, they were removed, the tanks, but there was still residual petroleum in the surrounding soil. So what this does, it has, we have to put a casing around the well to protect them. So it's an extra $9,000, but you know, we have to do it if we want water. So if I could get a motion on it.
Move that we give them that. Or it's for agreement.
I just support it.
We have a roll call with it?
Then yes, Everson's absent. Lewis?
Yes.
Latham?
Yes.
Yes. Superman's absent. Yeah.
Okay, so that takes us to bills for payment and record of disbursement, stand 5. Are there any questions on that? You good?
Maybe. Okay, so I noticed that, we had to repay, like, the fire fund, 815,000, is that just because that was came into the general fund?
Yeah, we pay, yeah, Lisa probably knows more about that than me. So those are tax revenues that were inadvertently deposited in the general. We're gonna say yes. Yeah, probably was fire shed at the time.
All right, and then, let's see, you said that, you know, the planning services, provided by Carlisle Workman, that's just for the master plan, is that correct? And that should be coming soon to us?
There is a monthly retainer with
Oh,
them.
that's a larger amount.
Yeah, I don't, which one are you talking about?
This
A
was,
number?
it's a small amount, but I think 365, sort of midway through, just as planning services, but their, the retainer is more than one.
Which is it? One retainer is like 1,000.
Can't find it right now, it's just.
Okay.
No, I'm seeing this Portage on Fireman's Park, you know, a couple times. This is what Parks and Recreation are currently using. Affinity Valuation Group, the 3,000 charge, it says appraisal of schoolhouse, but you really do need the.
Oh.
Where are we, the money that we paid, Castleberry and Lucas, just the legal services Schuster, that can't just be for Schuster, is it?
There was, well, I think Fred submitted one bill that was primarily all Schuster. So when the legal bills come in, I divide them out.
That Schuster bill we send that to the insurance company.
Oh, good, okay. That's it.
All right. So we got a motion support on the table, all in favor of approving, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, any opposed, no opposed. Okay, please and petition, is there anybody here with a petition? One?
I have a quick one. You know, Tom and John at Farmers Park with staff. I know you recall, we talked a couple months ago about a reference for the staff over there. I did have O'Neill Construction have to send a representative out. Did not solicit 3 bids. It was really just a price to see what the project's gonna cost us. So, I did send it to the 3 officials, so just kind of put your eyeballs back on it and give me some feedback. If this is something that you're wanting to proceed with. The estimate came in at about 50,000 as I recall, and we probably got 15,000 in architecture and engineering to go on top of that. So, we want to get moving on this.
So Juan, do you want me to put a little memo together for us?
Sure.
Still, we want more of this.
Well, this wouldn't be
Moving on it based on the price.
correct. Yeah, I'm not looking for you to approve a bid. I'm just looking for you to say, hey, Juan, get rolling on this, and which I will reach out to George and we'll get engineering done and get a bid package together.
Moving on.
You want a memo next month, or you just want to tell me you're moving on?
Is that?
Yeah.
Well, I think we need a couple of bids, but it's gonna be expensive.
It is, but, and the reason I just gave you that is I'm not, I want to make sure that number, that 50 and then another 15 for engineering doesn't scare you off before we put a bunch of work into it.
How much does it cost annually for having the porta potty on?
About $1,400.
Well, maybe it'd be better if the trustees would contact you and you can go down and show them where the bathroom is.
Sure. Yeah, if anybody wants to
How
come, yeah.
difficult it's gonna be to reach the sewer.
Yeah.
This is gonna be a big issue.
So I was wondering, and I asked you this. Telling me about.
Sure.
This, is how many bathrooms are actually out there right now?
In the building, there are 3 in the building, all on the north side, south side.
That could be an egress like that, that's
The door,
to a wall.
create a door.
Open that.
Well, you still have to go through the bay.
They're all the way on the south side. Yeah.
Well, the two, the old library, rehabbing, there's gonna be one there, it's gonna be a shower, locker room, the other one's gonna be a bath.
Yeah.
And there's the existing bathroom.
Correct.
Now,
Yeah.
it's possible you could go through the bay and go through the wall, but I think the piping and everything.
You may be able to go through the utility area where their washers and dryers are. That's something I can have O'Neill back out and.
Idea just to see. if we can make it that way, it's a reasonable one.
Well, yeah, the walk's not the deal. You know, it's just going through their quarters is the deal.
So Juan, maybe you can talk, just give us an update, maybe the sketches or anything that you might have on that. And maybe if the trustees want to come down and meet with you down there,
Sure.
you can kind of show them what we're thinking.
Yep. Okay. I'll send that quote to everybody just so you can look at it. If anybody wants to come and look or just looking for feedback. What do we want to do?
So the idea is we're gonna pay this out of the township's funding and not our cost.
Correct.
Okay, thank you, Juan. You're welcome. Any questions? Jim? Okay,
one more.
so.
Yeah, Rick will get it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, from Ricky Hart from the utility department. The last board meeting, you guys requested that I get a proposal from Stanford and MacArthur to Norfolk for the replacement of that 16-inch one. I did get a proposal. I know I need to get another one, but the proposal I received was $397, and that's including the the restoration of the landscaping, the concrete, and all the services that be attached to that new water line. But I wanted to give you guys a little idea of what we spent over the course of 2022 for the repairs of the water main.
To this particular one, or in general?
In general, from 2022 of the 16-inch water main that broke.
Okay, the one we're talking about replacing.
The replacement cost $397.
Right.
But I'm gonna give you an idea of what it was prior, when the water main broke, what it cost to repair those breaks.
Okay.
And the cost for 2022, it came out to $251,000 to just replace it. Concrete replacement was $17,000. Restoration was $8,000. So the total cost of that, all that for that year was $276,000.
How much was it?
And that's not even including what the water waste was, the water loss.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I saw that bid. I didn't think that bid was. Yeah. But I think we need a couple of bids, just to be safe.
Yeah, that's fine.
So Ricky, are we talking about, between, on Stanford, between MacArthur and Norfolk, or Norfolk and?
MacArthur and Norfolk.
So there will be, a proposal, I think, in April about repaving that section and repaving the section. I got two different bids, one from MacArthur to Norfolk, and then from Norfolk to Berkshire, I think. So, if we were to choose MacArthur to Norfolk, we would need to coordinate that with the road commission and the, so, well, we'll just deal with that when I get the bids from the road commission.
Okay. Yeah. In the meantime, I get another proposal. You want two, you want three all together?
Did you get one from D&D?
No, I got one from AAA. The employees that works for D&D, some of those as well.
Started their own.
Yeah, started their own, and I'm getting the same type of work that we had going down Harris Road to Wire on MacArthur.
Yeah.
And same team. And see, I know their work, you don't have to babysit them, and you know they don't give you the standards.
It was a good price.
Yeah.
It was a real good price.
Yeah, but I get you another.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Ricky. Yes, Martha.
Hi, one more news from the park department. The Easter Bunny is coming to Superior Township. He's going to get here a little bit early. So on Saturday, April 1, be sure to have all of the kids out there at Fireman's Park at 11 a.m. and it goes fast, so don't come late.
Learned that last year.
Great way to kick off spring.
Okay, but then I gotta ask for one thing. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right. All in favor, say aye.